and a very, very warm welcome. Thank you for making it here. Just to let you know what this is all about. Study Hall Foundation has been instrumental under the inspiring guidance of Dr. Urvashi Sahni to keep the flame burning. We have not allowed the issue of gender inequality die. It's continuing on our website www.studyhallfoundation.org. I earnestly request each one of you to please visit the site and put in your valuable comments. In the next leg of our journey, we have this panel discussion. The topic, as is very clearly stated, India's daughters, unwanted, unequal, unsafe. For the last 3 weeks, we have seen across the globe people commenting on this very topic on our website. It has been very inspiring. And the one thing which is common is that each one who has put up their view is all in tandem with they do not want this inequality. And they do agree there is inequality. We all look forward to our eminent panelists who are amidst us, and I extend a very, very warm welcome to you and to each one of you who is here. To set the note, we have a song written by Shalini Aunty.
Good morning, everyone. Post the protest, which followed the December 16 gang rape incident, we have been fighting for change. Change is extremely important in a progressive and civilized country like ours. We do realize that human memory is short-lived. Issues come and go, rise and fall. However, the future belongs to us. We are the ones who will carry the fire. We are here today to listen to eminent persons talk about a very relevant issue, that is, India's daughters, unwanted, unequal, and unsafe. Our panel discussion today is to ensure that this issue does not die out.
Good morning. Our eminent panelists are Ms. Madhavi Kukreja, founder of the NGO Vinangana that works for violence against women. Mrs. Sunita Arun, an eminent media personality and presently the chief editor of Hindustan Times. Mrs. Mahid Verma, journalist of the group and presently the editor of Kids College. Dr. Amrita Das, head of the Institute of Career Studies and is an eminent educationist. Mrs. Larita Pradeep, head of District Institute of Education and Training, specifically looking into teachers training for the government. Dr. Urvashi Sahni, the founder and the president of the Study Hall Foundation. Amongst our parents, we have Mr. Sarvesh Asthana, head of the Sanskar channel, and Mrs. Rupali Goyal, who is a homemaker. We have Mrs. Rekha Dondiyal and Mr. Rajesh Singh as the representatives of our teaching fraternity. We have Sunita Singh from Prerna Girls, Shubham Singh and Abhijit Kumar from Vidyastari Karnal, and Ayman Jafri and Arman Kukreja representing the student.
So, as we begin with the discussion, my first question goes out to Dr. Urvashi Sahni. When this issue is settling down, it's slowing its pace, and other issues are taking the forefront, what inspired you to begin this campaign and sustain it?
Thank you, Rohina, and welcome to all of you. You know, the point, first of all, I don't know that the issue is settling down. I don't think this is an issue that can settle down for a long time and should not settle down for a long time. It's been there for centuries, and it's just been catalyzed by this event. And it's not as though that was the only gang rape. There have been horrific ones all the time. And the rape is just a public manifestation and a very, very physical manifestation of a very deep-rooted endemic problem, which is gender inequality. It's been our effort at Study Hall Foundation for a long time to keep the issue alive in children's minds, because everyone is crying out about poor mindsets and where do they form? At home, at school, in society. So as educators, we see it as a very serious responsibility that we should be helping our students question and challenge gender norms, and that's the purpose of this campaign. It's not just against the rape. That, as I told you, is just a physical manifestation, and a very stark one, and a very horrific one. But more importantly, to think of even the subtler issues at home, but to think of the deep-rooted gender inequality, not just in society, but in our minds. And in fact, in some of the most progressive people's minds, you will find that it's there. It's a blind spot. So we want to catch them young. We want our students, our parents, our teachers, everyone to think about the issue, and that is the purpose of the campaign and of this panel discussion too.
Thank you. Today we have two media representatives with us, Mrs. Sunita Aaron and Mrs. Nahi Verma. So, my question is, media has played a positive role, a really positive role in this whole issue and spreading awareness. How do you think it will take it forward? Would you like to start?
Started it, and there were a lot of people who said that why media is highlighting these incidents in such details. Now, point is, if media doesn't do it, then you never take the issue to the streets, you know. You have to highlight it so that people start thinking about it and start, acting on it. Now, taking forward the media part, as you're talking about, I personally feel that girls would be wanted, they'll be safe. The problem is that they have to be wanted, and this is where a woman also plays a very important role. It's a mother who kills a baby girl in the home. So I think what we plan to do is, we are going to move a little positive, highlight people who are doing good work, who are able to take the battle, fight the battle. Like we highlighted 3 girls who were members of Red Brigade, how they fought the perpetrators who were committing crime on them, and they started their life again. So maybe a little more positive stories, so that they emerge as an icon, give some strength to the people who are, I don't call them victims, they're saviors of what has happened to them. And highlight women in a very, very positive manner, not as a commodity, not only the body part, but also her mental strength. That's what we plan to do.
Great answer. Would you like to add to that?
Thanks, Rohina. I think we are living in times of living in great times. Though it sounds terrible because of the recent incidents which have been highlighted in the media and everywhere. But I think we are living in great times because we are living in times of great awakening. We are living in times of great consciousness. We are living in times where things that were brushed under the carpet for so long are now out and open. We are talking about it. Gender issues have been there for many, many years, but they were accepted as a way of life. They were accepted that this is a done thing. So finally, that we are sitting here and talking about this is the triumph of, all of us who are working for women issues and those who are working for human rights issues. See, the thing is, why do women get targeted and they get attacked? Because it is a human tendency to attack what is vulnerable, what is alone, which is voiceless. So I think Sunita is so aptly put that when media gives this segment a voice, it is so wonderful that, these things which were thought to be done, thought to be like a way of life, way of society, considered to be, so now they are out, we are challenging them, we are working hard to change them. We have started a movement which will not stop, which will continue. But we should make full use and take full opportunity of this awakening and this consciousness. Let it not die within us. So empowerment of every human being as we are, as housewives, as parents, as mothers, as students, knowing your rights, standing up for each other. I think solidarity is very important. Because until something's happened and then we go there with candlelight marches, but something what happened in Delhi is a manifestation of the disease, but symptoms of that we are seeing in our society every moment. Addressing those symptoms, when we see them, I think that is very crucial in our homes, checking our boys at home, because all the time we are seeing these symptoms, in our own gamut of activity. So addressing them when we see them, I think that is very important. So
as an editor of Kids Calling, what issues are you highlighting or do you want to highlight to empower your women readers, your girl readers?
I think girls are not really separate from humanity. We are addressing core issues of respect for each other. We are addressing core issues. Sexual harassment also happens to men. Like I said, that it is not so much a gender issue. It's about being vulnerable and it's about being voiceless. So if we watch out for each other, as young people watching out for each other, standing out for each other, voicing, when we see them going oddy, standing up, protesting, giving voice to the vulnerable and the voiceless. I think this is what my target would be for young people. They don't sit quiet. Don't wait for something big to happen. Things are happening all the time around us. Take action when you see them. And everybody's problem is your problem. So when you see a friend, a comrade, somebody on the street whom you don't know being targeted, stand up. You'd be surprised how many people will join you when you show courage, when you stand up and say, I will not accept this.
Can I add one line? I think media, usually it is said that we only inform people. But I think we'll be working as a pressure group to bring about systemic changes like you have right now in the rape laws, So I think as a media person, we can really work as a pressure group with the help of the society and bring about systemic changes.
My friend Sheila would like to ask some of you questions.
मैं ललिता प्रदीप जी से पूछना चाहती हूँ कि महिलाओं व पुरुषों को शिक्षक बनाने के लिए जो ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है, उस दौरान पुरुषों से क्या किन्हीं विशेष बिंदुओं पर चर्चा की जाती है?
Let me answer for Lalita, and because we've also been doing some of these things. बेटा, हम लोगों को ट्रेनिंग में अभी मेरी बात हुई वृंदा स्वरूप जी से, जो सेक्रेटरी हैं एजुकेशन की. वो मुझे बता रही थी कि कम से कम सन 2000 से ये बहुत ही जोरों से सरकार से आदेश थे कि टीचर ट्रेनिंग में इस मुद्दे को उठाना चाहिए, जेंडर सेंसिटाइजेशन सब टीचर्स की होनी चाहिए. सन 2000 में हम लोगों ने भी इसमें बहुत काम किया था ताकि टेक्स्ट बुक्स को बदला है, लेकिन अभी भी इसको सीरियसली कोई नहीं ले रहा है, क्योंकि शायद जेंडर की एक समझ बहुत से लोगों के स्तर में है ही नहीं कि उसको किस तरह समझाना चाहिए, किस तरह उसकी बहुत तह तक पहुंचना चाहिए, ताकि पितृसत्ता पर ही एक सवाल उठाना चाहिए कि जब हम एक प्रजातंत्र हैं तो उसमें पितृसत्ता की कोई जगह है ही नहीं, वो गलत है. तो इस तरह की बुनियादी तौर पर समझ अभी शायद जेंडर की है नहीं, और इसकी ट्रेनिंग हम लोग तो कर रहे हैं, अपने स्तर से हम लोग कर रहे हैं. KGBV स्कूल्स में हम लोग ने किया है बहुत कुछ, और उसका एक बहुत अच्छा निष्कर्ष भी निकला कि एक ही महीने बाद ट्रेनिंग के बाद वहाँ पर KGBVs आपको बताएं कि सरकार की तरफ से ये स्कूल्स बने हैं जो केवल मिडिल स्कूल्स हैं, क्लास 6, 7, 8, और बहुत ही नीचे तबके के बच्चों की और बहुत ही लोअर कास्ट की लड़कियों के लिए रेजिडेंशियल स्कूल्स हैं. उनकी हम लोगों ने ट्रेनिंग की, और एक महीने के बाद जैसे होता है पेरेंट्स आ गए कि इस बच्ची को हम निकाल रहे हैं क्योंकि इसकी शादी कर देंगे, 13 साल की बच्ची की. तो क्योंकि ट्रेनिंग हुई थी, टीचर ने समझा और उसने कहा नहीं, ये गैर कानूनी आप कर नहीं सकते. तो पेरेंट्स बहुत जोर से पलटकर उन्हें बहुत ही ये कहा कि आपका इसमें व्हाट इज हाउ इज इट योर बिजनेस, आप किस तरह इसे रोक सकते हैं. उन्होंने कहा हम तो रोक सकते हैं क्योंकि गैर कानूनी है. फिर वो गांव में गई, वहां पे बहुत से लोगों को उन्होंने जोड़ा और इस शादी को रुकवा दिया. तो इसका मतलब है कि अगर हम टीचर्स की अच्छी तरह से ट्रेनिंग करें और ये बताएं कि ये एक जेंडर के कारण ही हमारी लड़कियां स्कूल पहले आती हैं तो रुकती नहीं और पढ़ती नहीं, और उसमें उनका एम्पावरमेंट नहीं होता है. तो जब तक हम टीचर्स को इस तरह की ट्रेनिंग ना दें कि वो पहले तो जेंडर को बहुत ही बुनियादी तौर से समझें कि ये क्या है, क्या मसला है, क्यों है, केवल रेप के तौर पर नहीं, और फिर ये समझें कि किस तरह टीचर्स को लड़कियों के हक के लिए बोलना है, स्कूल को लड़कियों के अधिकारों के लिए बोलना है, हम सबको बोलना है। जैसे हमारे पैनलिस्ट कह रहे हैं कि ये केवल विमेन्स राइट्स इश्यू नहीं है, ह्यूमन राइट्स इश्यू है, और ये आज तो इतनी जोर से उछल कर आया है, लेकिन सदियों से विमेन्स ग्रुप्स इसमें जुड़े हैं, बहुत कुछ काम कर चुके हैं, इसीलिए औरतों के अधिकार यहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं कि हमारे जहाँ तक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है उसमें तो कम से कम हमारा अधिकार है, हम लोग कह सके कि देखिए गैर कानूनी है। एक जमाना था आप ये भी नहीं कह सकते थे, अब हम कह सकते हैं, तो हमारे हाथ में एक तलवार है जिसका हम प्रयोग कर सकते हैं। थैंक यू।
आई थिंक मैं एक चीज जोड़ना चाह रही हूँ कि बहुत ही रुचिकर बात ये है कि शिक्षा पहले बहुत सेफ था, टीचर बनना लड़की के लिए सबसे सेफ कैरियर था, मतलब इनफैक्ट शिक्षित कर दो, थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ा लिखा दो, तो आपने अपनी ड्यूटी एज अ पेरेंट कर ली, आगे वो शिक्षा को सशक्तिकरण के रूप में किसी ने नहीं देखा था। आई थिंक ये सबसे बड़ी बात है जो अब बदलने की बात तुम्हारे सवाल से भी है और जो ऋषि मैम कहती, क्योंकि पहले ये था भाई टीचर बन जाओ तो सेफ कैरियर है, लड़की को थोड़ा 8वीं 10वीं तक पढ़ा लो तो सेफ है, बस इतना तो बस इतना। पर शिक्षा को लोगों ने सशक्तिकरण जैसे नहीं देखा था, इसको ही बदलना है, तभी कुछ बदलेगा।
Just quickly, I'm sorry for hogging it, but I just can't help it. कि हमारे, in fact, you said something very important, that I think education actually is very sterile. Our curriculum is out of date completely. The focus is on literacy, the focus is on technology and on science, whereas it should be on social issues. Education as a medium for social change. On the one hand, we put all the burden on education, that education हो जाएगा तो सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा. On the other hand, look at the way it's being done. All the focus is on learning outcomes, so learning, and not just here, world over. Learning outcomes meaning, can your children read, can they write, will they learn the content? Look at your CBSE exam. In study hall, we have been trying for the last 4 or 5 years, not just today, to make it an issue-based education. We took up 4 issues some 4 years ago: gender, caste, communalism, poverty. And our goal was that, hey, listen, let's put these issues center stage, let's make them the educational goal, and let's turn math, science, history, social studies around it, so that you look at it as a medium of social change. In terms of gender, in fact at Prerna, that is our goal. We put empowerment center, that is the goal, and everything else is a means to achieve that goal. And I think all of us who care about education, who care about society, education, the purpose, goal of education is not just to know, but to learn to live. Right? Then we should be canvassing very hard that let us look at education differently. And in terms of teachers, even in study hall, once I remember asking this question, what is it that stresses you out most in school? One of the teachers very honestly said, she says, your issue-based education. I just don't know what to do with it. And that's the problem with our teacher training. That's why they don't know what to do with it. Otherwise, we see it all the time. Thankfully, India is it's not an insular. If there is richness, there's poverty right next to it. Point is, we have become insular. So our goal is at all our schools that in study hall, these are middle class children, they must learn that their privileges are unfairly held. So what do you do with your privilege? Share it. Right? At Prerna, they are suffering from gender issues, very severe issues. Well, learn to resist, learn to understand gender, our teachers learn to advocate, and our school is truly an advocate for girls' rights. Right? And at Vidyasthali, learn to understand the rural environment and use your education to make that better. What are the disparities there? So gender is one issue. Unfortunately, India is ridden with disparities. We are a democracy with a feudal mentality. So we are a feudocracy.
Dr. Amitara, as an educationist, what components of education do you think should be strengthened to produce an egalitarian mindset in the students and the youth?
As Urvashi has just said, we need to integrate issue-based themes into the overall educational curricula. It should not just be learning outcomes. It should not just be chasing numbers. You know, that becomes a rat race. You may win the race, but you remain a rat. So we need to actually look at education that will lead to greater social awareness, awareness of our rights as well as our duties, wherein we ourselves are aware individuals, aware, humane. We give respect to people regardless of gender, regardless of caste, regardless of social standing. And we are imbued with the desire to serve our country and take it forward. And we can only serve our country and take it forward if there's respect for each other, and that is very, very important. And if there's respect for the rule of law. We have wonderful legal provisions, we have wonderful constitutional provisions, but we do not adhere to the rule of law. And that is what we have to sort of integrate into our systems, right from the family to the school to higher education. And that will make a difference. That will lead to a critical mass of right-thinking people. And once you have a critical mass, you will have an enlightened society.
Excellent. So you mean to say not only name the implementation, but also adhere to the rules?
Yes. Adhere, and so kind of every one of us has to be responsible for our thoughts, for our actions, and learn how to have value judgments. You know, think for ourselves, and that is what study hall is doing. That is why study hall is a school with a difference. That is why I advocate that people come to study hall and this kind of teaching gets kind of transferred to other systems as well. And through study hall, like Prerna, Vidyastali, if we had lakhs of study halls and Vidyastalis and Prernas, can you see the change that is coming about? Enormous. Prita, aapke muh mein ghee shakkar.
I really appreciate the point, and I fully agree with the point that education goes a long way in determining the way how our society looks at women as well as the gender biases. But here I would like to add that it is more amongst the educated people that gender biases and this concept of the daughter's upbringing has to be brought in. Because, God forbid, if anything like what happened in Delhi has to happen to any of us in our families, I think they had the guts to stand up, but most of us would not have the guts to stand up. So it has not got to do just with education. It has got to do more with the thinking of women, the thinking of mothers. It is how the mother treats the boy and the girl at home, how she teaches the brother and the sister, and how what education she imparts to them. And does she give the girl the guts enough to stand up, even at home, for small things, when things have to be shared, when the elders in the house say that the boy will get it because he's a boy. So at that point of time, she has to put in her foot and tell them. And she has to teach the child, the daughter, to stand up and say, no, that's not right. And then that is the time when the mothers most of the time teach the child, because they've been taught this, that no, the girl should keep quiet, you know. You should take the lion's share, should go to someone else, the males in the house. So it is more amongst the educated people. It should not be determined as, you know, the undertrodden or the lower middle class are the ones who are facing all this problem. It happens, believe me, every day at home to a lot of our daughters.
I couldn't agree with you more. Gender biases permeate and society. They go across class, caste, everything. But where you say that educated people, yes, I witnessed it as a student in class 11. I went to visit my friend, went there for lunch. Her younger brother came in later, and the mother said to this friend of mine, get up and give him water. Now, it clearly shows that women are there to serve the menfolk of any society. When it comes to inheritance, it's totally unequal. And even though laws say that daughters should have equal inheritance, it doesn't happen. So when I ask women, why don't you, where there has been this inequality, when I question them, why don't you have a say, why don't you voice your displeasure and claim your right? They say, we don't want to fight with our brothers.
So there are a lot of issues which could be sorted out if boys and girls are equally aware.
That's where the
and they respect each other and they respect each other's rights as human beings.
That's where the role of the mothers become very important.
And fathers, everybody.
I think the mother, yes, of course, both, but the mother is more, because the children also see how the mother is treated at home. That determines how their thinking process.
But you know, it's easier said than done, because women are also a product of a patriarchal society. They've been brainwashed, they've been conditioned over a period of time. And we have to get over this stereotypical thinking, this kind of conditioning. Very easy to say, okay, it is the Saas who perpetuates the violence against the Bahu, but she is supported by the men folk of the house. So the awareness has to be amongst everybody.
Sorry to interrupt, but I guess we are all deviating to the patriarchal trend of India. So first I would like to ask Mr. Asthana, who is representing the fathers, to say what...
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि मुझे अवसर मिल गया बोलने का। मुझे अवसर नहीं मिल रहा था, इसी से सिद्ध हो रहा है कि नारी सशक्तिकरण हो चुका है। और बहुत देर से मैं सुन रहा हूँ। मैं एक बेटी का पिता हूँ, वो बेटी भी यहीं पढ़ती है। मैं एक बेटे का पिता हूँ, वो बेटा भी यहीं पढ़ता है। मैं अगर थोड़ा सा पीछे चलूँ, मैं 2-3 मिनट टाइम लूँगा आप लोगों का। अगर हम इस सृष्टि के निर्माण से चलें, बात करें जहाँ से हम पैदा हुए, तो जो व्यवस्थाएं थी वो व्यवस्थाएं माता के हाथ में थी। जो अर्जन था, यानी कि जो लाना था बाहर से, जिससे घर चलना था, वो पिता के हाथ में था। हमारे सामाजिक और जो सारी व्यवस्थाएं थी, उनके लिए जो पहला अवतार हुआ हमारे यहाँ, वो महिला अवतार है, मत्स्य अवतार, मछली का अवतार। वहाँ से व्यवस्थाएं शुरू हुई, धीरे धीरे परिवर्तन आए। यत्र नार्यस्तु पूज्यन्ते रमन्ते तत्र देवता, ये हमारे देश का सूत्र वाक्य है और हम उस पर चलते भी हैं। नारी का, स्त्री का एक अलग रूप है, जिसके पास ममता, दया, क्षमा, धैर्य, सुनना और सेवा करना, ये एक निर्धारित किया गया किसी व्यवस्था में। मैं उसका सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहा हूँ कि ये जो निर्धारित किया गया वो सही था या नहीं था। उसके बाद जो बाहर के काम थे वो पुरुषों को दिए गए, तो जो शक्ति वाले कार्य थे वो पुरुष ने ले लिए। जहाँ पर शक्ति जिसके पास केंद्रित होती है वो धीरे धीरे हावी होता चला जाता है। वो चाहे इकाई स्तर पर, यूनिट स्तर पर आप घर पर ले लें, या थोड़ा विद्यालय के स्तर पर आप ले लें, या समाज के स्तर पर ले लें, या और बड़े लेवल पर जाकर के ले लें, देश के लेवल पर ले लें। तो इसमें धीरे धीरे परिवर्तन आने प्रारंभ हुए हैं। यहाँ पर हमारे देश का जो सिद्धांत है, जो अंदर से, जो मन से है, वो नारी की उपेक्षा करना बिल्कुल नहीं है, नारी की अवहेलना करना भी बिल्कुल नहीं है। क्योंकि अगर नारी की अवहेलना करना होता, नारी को रिजेक्ट करना होता, तो माफ़ कीजिएगा, आप लोग सब लोग नारियाँ हैं, हमको अगर विद्या चाहिए तो हम माँ सरस्वती की पूजा करते हैं, वो नारी है। अगर हमें शक्ति चाहिए तो हम माँ दुर्गा की पूजा करते हैं, वो नारी है। अगर हमें धन चाहिए तो हम लक्ष्मी की पूजा करते हैं, वो नारी है। तो जो मूल है, जो रूट है, वहाँ पर नारी है। लेकिन व्यवस्थाएं कुछ बिगड़ी हैं, उनको हमें परिवर्तित करना है। जैसा कि मैडम कुकरेजा ने कहा कि घर में खड़े हो जाना है, मना कर देना है, विद्रोह कर देना है, तो मैं इस बात से सहमत नहीं हूँ। सशक्तिकरण विद्रोह से नहीं आता, सशक्तिकरण विमर्श से आता है, बातचीत करने से आता है, शिक्षा से आता है। जी
One thing that पहले तो this is not men against women, ये हम लोग समझ लें, इसीलिए कहा it's a human rights issue।
नहीं मैडम, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा, मैं आपकी बात कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाया।
एक मिनट, तो ये कहना था कि एक पहले हम इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे that it's not men against women, पहली बात। दूसरी बात ये कि विद्रोह तो जरूरी है, और ये इसलिए कि विमर्श समान व्यक्तियों में होता है। नेगोशिएशंस आप जो आपके समान है, नहीं तो जिसका जब इतना अंतर है सत्ता में, तो फिर वो तो समानता इतनी असमानता है, तो फिर तो नेगोशिएशन
आपकी बात पे आ रहा था,
सुन लीजिए।
जी सुनीता बोलो।
मैं खाली इतना ही कहना चाहती हूँ आपको सुनने के बाद जिस दिन हम लोग इन लोगों को कंपेल कर देंगे कि जो हमारी फाइट है वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट की वो यही लीड करेंगे, उस दिन हमने अपनी बैटल जीत ली।
बिल्कुल हम यही चाहते हैं कि लेडीज एम्पावरमेंट की जो फाइट है उसको पुरुष लीड करें। बच्चे जब गाना वो गीत सुना रहते हैं।
What I want to say is we are at a domestic level very tolerant. We are either putting women ahead of men, giving them special treatment, or as inferiors. What I feel is if we put women in a similar path as men, there would be no need for those special treatments. Then women can stand parallel to men, as equals, as similar.
Goddess or a slut. This can't be done. Yes. You can't either worshipper or raper. Not equal.
And I also want to say is कि देखिए पहले तो क्योंकि ये औरतों का मुद्दा है तो ऐसे men समझते हैं कि वो they have to be defensive about men. ये हम छोड़ दें. Because the point is it is a social issue, it's a human rights issue, और हम लोग इतने benevolent ना हो कि उसके चलिए देखिए हिस्ट्री तो होती है और उसके कुछ ना कुछ explanations भी होते हैं, तो वो तो ठीक है, लेकिन जो चीज़ गलत है वो गलत है और जो चीज़ अनफेयर है वो अनफेयर है। और इसमें ये हम ये ना कहें कि वैसे तो हम बहुत पसंद करते हैं लेकिन ये इतने 1 मिलियन लड़कियों की हम भ्रूण हत्या करते हैं इन इंडिया। इंडिया का जो जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी इंडेक्स है आउट ऑफ 146 कंट्रीज 149 कंट्रीज वी आर 126, ओनली अफगानिस्तान इज लोअर देन अस इन दिस रीजन। इतने बुरे आंकड़े हैं, तो जब इतने बुरे आंकड़े हैं तो कुछ हम बहुत बुरा कर रहे हैं और हमें ये मानना पड़ेगा। और ये कहना कि नहीं वैसे तो हमारे समाज में हम उसको देवी मानते हैं और वैसे तो हम लोग सब औरतों के लिए हैं, तो फिर ये सब हो कैसे रहा? अगर हम लोग सब औरतों के लिए हैं तो फिर ये सब हो कैसे रहा है? ये मानना पड़ेगा, इसकी जिम्मेदारी लेनी पड़ेगी और सबको एक आवाज में कहना पड़ेगा जो हो रहा है गलत है। दूसरी बात, जिसके पास सत्ता है वो बहुत मुश्किल से छोड़ता है, चाहे वो सफेद कालों का मुद्दा रहा, चाहे वो अंग्रेज और हिंदुस्तानियों का मुद्दा रहा, चाहे वो कास्ट का इश्यू रहा, चाहे वो मर्दों और औरतों का इश्यू रहा। तो हर एक जब भी हिस्ट्री आप जांचिए तो जब भी समानता कहीं भी आई है तो एक अधिकारों की लड़ाई लड़ी है किसी ने, विद्रोह हुआ है। नहीं तो हिंदुस्तान भी क्यों विद्रोह करता? विमर्श करता, विमर्श से नहीं कुछ हुआ। हमें तो विमर्श भी तब करेंगे जब एक हद तक पहुंच जाएंगे। आई थिंक माधवी
बहुत अब मुझे पता कि आपने कहा कि शायद ये सही नहीं है, पर मैं तब भी कहूंगी कि शायद वो मर्द जो दिल्ली के सड़कों में उन्होंने वो कांड किया और जो अलग अलग चीजें, क्या उनके अंदर इस तरह की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स थी कि वो ममता, मतलब प्यार, देखभाल करना, दया, ये जो सारी चीजें हैं ये क्यों सिर्फ औरत को ही सिखाई जाती हैं? औरत इनका ठेका लिया हुआ है, तो क्यों नहीं मर्द और औरत में, दोनों इंसानों में ये सारी भावनाएं होती और कुछ औरतों में वो भी भावना होती कि हम लड़ाकू हैं या हम अपने हक के लिए बात करते हैं। तो ये दोनों जो मतलब लोगों के कहते हैं नेचुरल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, ये तो इंटरचेंजेबल है इंसान में। तो क्योंकि हमने इनको बहुत जेंडर के खाकों में डाल दिया है कि आप महिला हैं तो आप ऐसी होंगी, आप ममता में हैं, तो यही इसी पे, इस मूलभूत चीज पे
मैं इसी मुद्दे पे आना चाहता हूं। मैं इसी मुद्दे पे आना चाहता हूं जी।
अरमान,
about the movements for women, I feel the solution for it is that men who feel that women and men are equal, the men should also fight for the women. They should go hand in hand together and they should fight for the rights of women. Like my mom has taught me, treat women equally. I would, this particular case of Nirbhaya was taken up and all Justice Verma committee and everything was formed because the youth, not only women, both of them were stood up for the cause, and they outside India Gate, all of them were fighting.
Dr. Das, do you think youth power is potent, as Arman put it?
That's a very interesting question. The biggest strength of any nation is its youth. India has over 800 million citizens who are below the age of 35. About 50% of them are women. And this is being termed as a demographic advantage for the country. But demographic advantage in what terms? If you are looking at economic growth, if you are looking at emerging as a leading nation of the world, we will never get there unless these 800 million people begin to transform their own thinking, their own actions, and look at gender issues, look at issues like gender equality, lead those lives as enlightened citizens, and say no to any kind of violence, say no to any kind of inequality. We have to take a stand. And as I said, it begins at home. The school has a major role. Media plays a major role. If all of us work towards that transformation, then change will happen, and then India will witness a second golden age.
मैम, मैं मिस माधुरी कुकरेजा से एक प्रश्न पूछना चाहता हूँ। मैम, आपने कई दूर दराज के गांव में जाकर महिलाओं के साथ काम किया है, तो मैम मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि वहाँ की महिलाओं की खास तौर पर कौन कौन सी समस्याएं होती हैं?
शायद तुम भी गाँव की तरफ से हो, तो शायद तुम भी जानते हो। आई थिंक समस्या एक ही है लगभग। उनकी जो सब यहाँ बैठे हैं उनको भी चिंता होती है लड़कियों की शादी की, और वहाँ भी चिंता होती है। वहाँ कहीं खेत और जंगल में लोग निकलते हैं तो मतलब लड़कियां जब स्कूल जाती हैं 5 किलोमीटर दूर या खेत से निकल के जाती हैं तो लोग टेंस हो जाते हैं कि कौन उनको ताका होगा छेड़ने के लिए। यहाँ जब लोग बस में जाते हैं तो माँ बाप और वो लड़कियां परेशान होती हैं कि कौन अपना थक्का या कोनी एक लगा देगा। तो आई थिंक मैं तो मानती हूँ कि संदर्भ अलग है। वहां कुछ है कि छोटी छोटी चीजों के लिए औरतों को बहुत संघर्ष करना पड़ता है, जैसे उनको अपनी शिक्षा हासिल करने के लिए या इकट्ठा होने के लिए। ये चीजें जो शहर के लोग हैं शायद वो थोड़ा सा टेकन फॉर ग्रांटेड करते हैं लड़कियों को, मगर समस्या तो मुझे लगता है कि शहर और गांव की बहुत मिलती जुलती समस्याएं हैं। और ऐसा मतलब आप जान रहे समय जब पूरा ये केस दिल्ली का हुआ तो एक बहुत बड़ी आवाज हुई थी कि ये शहरी चीज है कि शहर में ही बलात्कार हो रहे हैं और ये शहरी संदर्भ का एक सिलसिला है।
We'll be coming back to you. I think this is
I just want to add few things. देखिए, मैं कई बारी गांव में जाती हूँ, वहाँ पे बच्चों से मिलने का एक मौका मिलता है and I sit and talk to them. Now the major problem with them is कि उनके भी बहुत सपने जग गए हैं। जैसे जैसे टेक्नोलॉजी का विस्तार हो रहा है, they have lot of dreams and I have been discussing it with Amrita also, but they really don't have anybody to guide them. Their parents not literate enough to tell them what to study, what to do with their respective lives, you know. They want to become, now if you ask them what do you want to become, oh I can become an A&M or I can become a teacher. They can't think beyond that. So there is a total lack of guidance. Second, there are a lot of contradictions in a rural society. Either woman is very powerful, she controls everything, or she has been bought by somebody. Girls are picked up, you know, they are taken away, there are caste problems, there are other feudal problems still exist in rural areas. But we have, on the positive side, we do see women coming out, even in those pockets where they have fought MLAs. So I personally feel women across India, women across globe has to emerge as a vote bank. She has to say that I have risen above my caste and community. I am a vote bank. No political party will be able to, you know, ignore 50% population and then you dictate your terms what you want. Till you become a voice, you can't have your say, you can't change the system.
The rural areas, as the Grami State, so we have Abhijit and Shubham representing the boys from rural areas. So मैं उनसे ये निवेदन है कि वो इसके बारे में अपने विचार अभिव्यक्त करें।
अभी हमारे गांव में जल्दी हमारे क्षेत्र के गांव में एक घटना हुई थी 2 साल पहले। एक रियल फादर अपनी बेटी से उत्पीड़न का कार्य कर रहा था। उत्पीड़न का कार्य करता जब शादी होने वाली थी तो नशेड़ी बाप था उसका, उसकी शादी होने वाली थी तो उसकी 2 बेटियां थी, एक छोटी थी एक बड़ी थी। बड़ी वाली बेटी के साथ वो उत्पीड़न कर रहा था, जो छोटी वाली बेटी थी वो एक बार जान गई मेरा रियल फादर इसके साथ उत्पीड़न करा, जब उसकी शादी हो जाएगी तो ये मेरे साथ भी ऐसा ही कार्य करेगा, तो उसने सुसाइड कर लिया छोटी वाली बेटी। तो वो समाज को पता ही नहीं चला, वो बता नहीं सकती थी कि वो क्या कर सकती है। बड़ी वाली जिसके साथ उत्पीड़न कर रहा था वो क्या कर सकती है।
जैसे आपको इस बात की जानकारी प्राप्त हुई तो आप लोगों ने इसको क्या टेकअप किया, उछाला, क्या पंचायत के सामने रखा ये बात
बाद में पता चली जब उसने सुसाइड कर ली।
तब भी ये जब बाद में पता चली तो उसके पिताजी तो जीवित थे ना, उन्होंने कोई एक्शन उनके किसी ने आवाज उठाई,
आवाज नहीं उठाई,
यही प्रॉब्लम।
मैं पर आई थिंक मैं एक सपोर्ट में कहना चाह रही हूँ, ये दर्दनाक घटना जो है इवन जब शहरों में होती है और हमने खुद एक मतलब सरकारी अधिकारी ने जब ये कांड अपनी बेटी के साथ किया तो क्या तब आवाज उठाना इतना आसान है? आई थिंक मतलब द फैक्ट कि हम लोग इसके बारे में सोच रहे हैं इस एक कदम, क्योंकि सबसे बड़ी चुनौती है कि जब घर पे इस तरह का हो रहा है उसके ऊपर आवाज उठाना, शायद ये जिंदगी भर का संघर्ष है।
एक जो बेटा आप जैसे माधवी जी कह रही हैं, इसके सपोर्ट में मैं कहूँ कि वाकई शहरों में भी ये होता है, हिंदुस्तान में बल्कि इट हैज वन ऑफ द हाईएस्ट रेट्स ऑफ इंसेस्चुअस सेक्स अब्यूज। और हमारी ही प्रेरणा के ही एक किसी घर में इस तरह हुआ कि बाप अपनी बेटी का बलात्कार किया उसने, और हम लोग को पता चला क्योंकि बहन ने बताया, तो हमने तुरंत एक्शन लिया। और माँ इस बात को छुपा रही थी क्योंकि इज्जत का तकाजा, कई चीज़ों का तकाजा, इज्जत इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग टू थिंक अबाउट कि ये ऑनर क्यों हमेशा लड़की की सेक्सुअलिटी के साथ ही जुड़ी रहती है। तो फिर हमने चाइल्ड लाइन के साथ को कांटेक्ट किया, ये चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन सर्विसेज है, और उनसे कहा कि आप जरा इसका करिए, पुलिस से भी बात करेंगे। तो उसने कहा पहले हम बात करते हैं, तो वो गए और कहा कि हमने उनसे बहुत बात की है और बहुत खुश होकर आ गए कि हमने इस मामले को रिजॉल्व कर दिया है। तो हमने कहा क्या किया? हमने कहा अरे हमने बहुत बात की तो फादर मान गए हैं कि आगे से ऐसा नहीं करेंगे। तो हम लोग हैरान, मैंने कहा इसको आप रेजोल्यूशन मानते हैं क्यों? तो उन्होंने कहा क्योंकि अरे क्या करते, आखिर फैमिली नहीं तो टूटती। तो देखिए 2 बड़ी बातें हैं, एक तो इज्जत, उसकी परिभाषा क्या है और क्यों इस तरह की बातों से जुड़ी है। दूसरी कि आप फैमिली को जोड़ना, किस तरह की फैमिली को आप कायम कर रखना चाहते हैं। और इससे भी और बड़ी बात, हमने इसी किस्से को हमने उसका बहुत विद्रोह किया और पुलिस तक बात पहुंच गई। हमने किसी और से टीचर्स की ट्रेनिंग में वाराणसी में हम लोग कर रहे थे, और ये भी टीचर ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में पढ़ाती हैं, उनके सामने ये समस्या रखी और कहा कि क्या ऐसा होना चाहिए, उस आदमी के साथ क्या करना चाहिए। चाइल्ड लाइन ने इस तरह का एक सोल्यूशन निकाला, क्या ये सही था या गलत था। मेजॉरिटी टीचर ने जो शहरी थे उन्होंने कहा ठीक था, आखिर फैमिली को क्यों तोड़ें। और हमने फिर सवाल पूछा कि मान लीजिए अगर ये कहीं आपकी लड़की का बलात्कार किसी और बाहर का आदमी करता है तब क्या करना चाहिए? कहते तब तो 10 साल की जेल होनी चाहिए। तो मैंने कहा ये बताइए, जब फादर खुद करता है ज्यादा घिनौना अपराध है, उसको आप कह देते हैं दूसरी चांस दीजिए, बाहर का करता है तो वो उसको 10 साल की जेल हो। मुश्किल ये है कि हम लोग, जैसे कि कोई और भी कह रहा था, जो घर का दायरा है, बेटा आप ही लोग शायद कह रहे थे, घर का दायरे को हम समझते हैं कि वो कानून से परे है और उसमें अगर कोई मारता है तो वो ठीक है, बाहर की किसी को मारता है वो तो अपराध है, घर में मारते हैं तो वो तो ठीक है, बीवी को मारते हैं तो वो ठीक है, घर बाहर मारते हैं तो वो गलत है, राइट। और बलात्कार घर में होता है तो उसको ढक दिया जाए, बाहर होता है तो शायद वो पुलिस के पास चला जाए। तो एक ये हमें समझना बहुत जरूरी है कि, और वही हम लोग समझा रहे थे कि घर का दायरा तो बल्कि और सुरक्षित होना चाहिए, उसको हम क्यों मान के बैठे हैं कि उसके लिए वो कानून से परे है। और डोमेस्टिक स्फीयर की कानून बनने में भी इतना संघर्ष किया है विमेन्स ग्रुप्स ने, तो अभी भी आप जानेंगे कि मैरिटल रेप को जस्टिस वर्मा कमीशन ने उसको माना नहीं है। और हम लोग इतने केसेस देखते हैं जहाँ पे इतनी बुरी तरह से अपनी पत्नियों को लोग यूज करते हैं। तो एक ये समझना कि इज्जत को, कि जब चोर चोरी करता है तो इसकी इज्जत जाती है, यहाँ पर बलात्कारी की इज्जत नहीं जाती, लड़की की इज्जत जाती है। क्यों? चोर चोरी करता है तो चोर को जेल में डाल देते हैं, यहाँ पर लड़की को बहलाकर तो लड़कियों को अंदर ढक दो, क्यों? तो ये सवाल कौन उठाएगा? और इज्जत का भी एक सवाल कि इज्जत क्या है और क्यों इससे लड़की की इज्जत क्यों जाती है, बलात्कारी की इज्जत जानी चाहिए, ये पूछना बहुत जरूरी है। वो पिता कहलाने के अधिकारी नहीं है, उसको तो 100 जूते मारो बाहर निकाल कर। और क्यों नहीं मारते? क्योंकि सब चुप। क्यों चुप? क्यों चुप? ये पूछना जरूरी है। और आज की नौजवान पीढ़ी है वो सोचे कि क्यों चुप।
Urvashi, also I'd like to add that I think women need to change their mindset. They need to stand in solidarity for their own daughters, for their neighbors, for anything that happens outside. Instead of telling your daughter, तुमने कुछ किया होगा, तुम ऐसे कपड़े पहनोगी तो ऐसे ही होगा. The minute the daughter is born, I've seen people from well-off families जैसे 2 बेटियां हैं, दहेज का सोचना पड़ता है. I have to think about my daughters also. I mean, it happens all the time. We are sending these messages to our daughters moment to moment that you are different, you need to be, that you are powerless, that you are voiceless. Also, I'm thinking of something very interesting. Many years ago, I went to the World Bank DC, and in the restroom there were these little pamphlets for women, and they said that please report to us if these things happen to you. And some of the things, I was laughing. I was telling my husband that we endure as women in India all the time. Does your husband think that you're mentally deficient? Does your husband often says, "Tumhe nahi pata, tum mat bolo"? Does your husband say that they treat you differently outside, treat you differently inside home? If these things happen, please report.
Ma'am, I think Mrs. Rekha has to say something.
Hello. I feel society is very coercive and we are products of our environment. So we are trained to conform. I am all in praise of non-conformists. Wherever there is any injustice, we should withdraw and carry on, and not for a second should we rest, because the moment we conform, we accept injustice. Absolutely. So we got to fight it every day at every level.
I'd like to add what Sunita said, that there has to be systemic change in society. So laws need to be amended, but who implements the law? Police. Police has to be sensitized, and there have to be many more courses for both male and female police officers. So when these cases are reported,
but police should be sensitized, Amrita, when cases are reported, when women take their fellow, comrades to the station and say, write the report because we think.
So that has
when we form a pressure group and we constantly.
That's right. So we have to have the pressure groups, definitely. The media has to play a very important role there, because no society rises above the level to which it raises its women.
So Arman has to add.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you, ma'am, why did the media only take up this issue and not the other small issues in the villages? Why only this particular issue?
Now, I knew this is going to come, because this is one question that we are being asked again and again, why. That became a very important issue. The brutality part, every rape is horrific, as she said, every rape. In fact, even eve-teasing, molestation, why we talk about rape only? So whenever child marriage, whenever dignity of a woman is in question, it becomes an issue. But definitely it happened in Delhi, and we could see the pressure building up there, and we did it, and you see the changes in the law also. We do report other cases. It's not that we are not reporting other cases, but we have our readers telling us, why are you, do we have more rapes nowadays, or you people are reporting more? We want something positive to read about. Enough, you are creating panic in the society. So somewhere you have to balance when you are reporting.
I want to add something. The media certainly has played a very positive role, but as he said, I want to add, the girl had the guts to speak up. The parents had the guts to stand up for her. That is the reason it got highlighted. Had it been a hush-hush matter where the child would have been told to keep quiet, nobody would have even had the guts to report it.
People have not read.
I'm sorry here, actually, because it got highlighted, they spoke up.
I do not.
There's one more point.
I think our student
But one point I need to bring here, which is related to the question Arman raised and Sunita answered. Right after this rape case, there was a case where a whole lot of students, girl students in a school in Chhattisgarh complained that they had been raped regularly by their teachers. The Chief Minister's wife said this should have been kept under wraps. It should never have come out. But once it came out, I didn't see the same kind of media support for these rural girls who complained. There was no support for them. Why?
Okay. No, one thing. May I just, I think our student representatives must get the chance to speak. So we'll come back to the question later. So let us
सुनीता सिंह, ये बताइए, आपको प्रेरणा में इस प्रकार से सिखाया जाता है, पढ़ाया जाता है कि आपको शिक्षा के साथ प्रशिक्षण भी मिले। ऐसे प्रकार की शिक्षा को आपको क्या फायदा मिलता है समाज में? प्रशिक्षण भी मिलता है
जी, फायदा तो बहुत हुआ है, क्योंकि अगर हमें फायदा नहीं होता तो हम यहाँ पे नहीं बैठे होते। इस तरह की शिक्षा की हमें ज़रूरत है और प्रशिक्षण की ज़रूरत है, और हमारे जैसे स्कूल की ज़रूरत है जहाँ पे हमें शिक्षा दिया जाता है। हम चाहते हैं कि हमारे जैसे स्कूल हर गांव कस्बे में हो। अगर ये हमारा स्कूल नहीं होता तो क्या पता मैं किसी गांव में अभी कुछ और काम कर रही होती। और बहुत ज़रूरत है इसकी, हर लड़की को, हर गाँव की लड़की को, कस्बे की लड़की को, शहर की लड़की को, हर जगह की लड़की को।
Urvashi ma'am, you have seen the Prerna girls from when it first came to what they are now. How have you seen the change happen through education?
Hello? Yeah. I want to quickly say that I think our students speak for themselves, and the reason I think the school has worked the way well it has in terms of our achievement scores are we outperform national and state averages. Our transition to high school is almost 88%. Our completion is 90% as compared to 28% nationally. Let me tell you. And our attendance is 85% as compared to 50 or below. And teacher attendance is 97%. So I think the reason the school is working well is because we put empowerment center stage. We made that the educational goal, and our approach was that we kept life outcomes in mind, not learning outcomes. We want children's lives to change. And that changes when children learn to resist, fight for their rights. First of all, recognize yourself as having rights, most importantly. Then building the capacity to aspire, that how can I have a better life? And then secondly, resisting child marriage. Vidro, sir. Resisting child marriage, resisting domestic violence, and also going out. Our children have formed a campaign, they have campaigned in their communities against domestic violence, against child marriage. So become a self-advocate, become an other advocate. And most importantly, understand that you're an equal person with equal rights, and that you should not be unfair to anyone, and you should not accept anything unfair. So building that kind of strength is what has led to the success of our school. But before I think we move on to others, and maybe now our panelist from Vidyasthali would like to say something as well. Beta.
हमारे गांव में मैम एक लड़की थी, तो मैम उसकी शादी मैम कर दी गई थी। मैम बहुत एजेड आदमी था, तो मैम लड़की होगी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा मैम 16 या 17 साल, और मैम जो आदमी था वो कम से कम 40 साल का था। तो हमारे गांव में उसकी शादी हो गई थी। मैम समझाया था उसको बहुत लोगों ने कि आज जो जिसके साथ आप शादी कर रहे हो बहुत बड़ा है और लड़की छोटी है, पढ़ने की उम्र है भी, बहुत लोगों ने समझाया, लेकिन वो माना नहीं। और अभी जल्दी में ही मैम उसकी लड़की का डिवोर्स भी हो गया। यस मैम एक लड़की उसकी है, मैम उस लड़की की एक लड़की भी है, और मैम जिसके साथ उसकी शादी हो गई थी उसका डिवोर्स हो गया। डिवोर्स होने के बाद फिर वो अपने घर ले गया। मैम आया, यस मैम डिवोर्स हो गया, लेकिन वो जब मैम उन्हीं मैम लड़की वालों का और मैम उसका मैम कोई बात हुई होगी, तो मैम वो फिर से आया और मैम उसको अपने घर लिए चला गया।
आपका क्या विचार है इसके बारे में कि पहले तो क्या करना चाहिए था समाज वालों को, आपको, और इसको किस तरह इस मसले को किस तरह हल किया जाए?
मैम हमको तो मैम जो करना था मैम हम लोगों ने बहुत समझाया मैम, घर वालों ने, मैम पापा ने, चाचा ने, सब लोगों ने। मैम घर से ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है मैम बहुत समझाया कि आदमी है, बहुत बड़ा है और ठीक नहीं। मैम उनकी एक इकलौती लड़की भी थी मैम।
अच्छा एक बात बताओ, आपको पता है कि कानून है इसके विरोध, तो कानून का सहारा क्यों नहीं लिया? पुलिस को क्यों नहीं बताया?
मैम वो इसलिए क्योंकि मैम वो लोग खुद ही नहीं जाते थे। अगर हम लोग जाते तो मैम पुलिस वाले हम लोगों से पूछते कि इनको कोई परेशानी नहीं है, तुमको क्यों परेशानी है?
देखिए यही बात है। आई मस्ट से समथिंग अबाउट दिस। पहले तो लेट्स नॉट कॉल इट चाइल्ड मैरिज, लेट्स कॉल इट गर्ल स्लेवरी, बिकॉज दैट्स व्हाट इट इज। मैरिज करके उसको डिग्निफाई मत करिए और उसके हॉरर को यूफोमाइज मत करिए। इट्स एन awful practice. World has 10 million child brides per year. India has 1/3 of them. Let us hang our heads in shame. Just let us hang our heads. Secondly, बेटा आपको एक दूसरा किस्सा सुना है। यहीं पर इस तरह की किस्सा उठा और लड़की को वो कह रहे थे कि मैं अपनी बेटी की शादी करने जा रही हूँ। हमने रोका, मैंने कहा तुम मत करो, बहुत समझाया। कहते मैं बहुत गरीब हूँ। मैंने कहा तो इससे तुम्हारी गरीबी कम कैसे होती है? ये भी ना समझी। कहती मैं तो करूंगी, आप चाहे कुछ करिए। मैंने कहा पुलिस ले आएंगे, फिर भी ना मानी। फिर मैंने उसके फियांसे का नंबर ले लिया किसी तरह, तो मैंने उसको फोन किया। मैंने कहा बेटा आप अच्छे से लगते हो, आपकी कितनी उम्र है? कहता है 22 साल। ये तो 40 साल का 22 साल के लड़के के साथ भी ये गैर कानूनी है। और उसने कहा, मैंने कहा लड़की की उम्र है 16 साल, तो आप इसके साथ शादी मत करो, ये गैर कानूनी है। उसने कहा मैडम प्लीज मत रोकिए, हमारे कार्ड छप चुके हैं, इज्जत का तकाजा, ये वो फलां टपका। मैंने कहा अच्छा देखो तुम अच्छे से लगते हो, मुसीबत तो तुम ही पर आएगी क्योंकि स्टैट्यूटरी रेप कहलाता है ये, तो तुम तो जाओगे जेल। इसलिए तुम ये शादी 2 साल रुक जाओ, 18 साल की हो जाएगी तब कर लेना। मान गया। मतलब ये कि हम लोग वही बात, घर का दायरा है तो कानून को ना बुलाएं, ठीक है? कानून बने ही इसीलिए हैं कि आपकी सुरक्षा के लिए, तो बुलाते क्यों नहीं? पुलिस को एक बार ले जाइए किसी के दरवाजे पर और उसको रोक दीजिए शादी को, तो देखिए कोई ना करेगा। हम लोग डरते हैं, नहीं करते हैं, तो कहना चाहिए, पहले तो ये बता देना चाहिए कि गैर कानूनी है, दूसरा बता देना चाहिए कि पुलिस तो ले ही आएंगे, तो इसलिए तुम इज्जत तब तो क्या, अब तो क्या जाएगी, तब तो बहुत ही बुरी तरह से चली जाएगी। और लड़कों को पता होना चाहिए कि इसको स्टैट्यूटरी रेप कहते हैं, जेल जाएंगे वो। तो ये सब कानून जानो और उनको इम्प्लीमेंट करो, डराओ उनसे, तब लोग समझते हैं।
Ms. Kukreja, you come across so many cases like this. Are the laws actually helping you, or do they hinder the process?
I think laws definitely help. The fact that you have the knowledge of the law and that there is access and you know that it's your right, I think that definitely that's a framework. But then challenges like this, that हम पुलिस के पास जाएंगे तो पुलिस भी वही चीज कहेगी कि भाई आपके घर का मामला है. I think the biggest challenge is to change the patriarchal mindset of the people who are implementing the laws. So I think the police are the most difficult. For instance, if you take, we haven't touched dowry yet. I mean, a dowry is, I mean, you can think of in a rural area या गरीब घरों में तो आप दहेज के प्रति जा भी सकते हो कानून को लेके, पर क्या आप किसी अमीर के घर या जो हम लोग सब यहाँ बैठे उनके घरों में उन्होंने क्या दिया और क्या दिया पे सवाल भी कर सकते हो? I don't think you can do it. So I think that the law is very important, but often some of our mindsets make, like the dowry law is a joke in this country. I mean, the highest IAS officer will get the biggest dowry in this country. I mean, as you have a better job, you get more dowry.
Emma wants to add to that.
We always find that it's the administration, we accuse them, but don't you feel that all those judges and those police from the same society?
Absolutely right, and along with that, there is the issue of corruption. You pay money to the police, you pay money to the judiciary, and you're above the law. You go out scot-free. So this has to be taken into account.
I think even with the police, हमको भी मना किया है पुलिस ने कई बार कि ये कि आपको क्या तकलीफ हो रही है, उसका तो घर बस रहा है. हमने कहा देखिए जी, आपके ओपिनियन से हमें मतलब नहीं है, कानून है, आप अपना काम करिए. कानून कहता नहीं तो आपके ओपिनियन इसमें आता ही नहीं है.
कि आप क्या समझते हैं, आपका क्या रवैया है। कानून बना है, आपको कानून की रखवाली करनी है। तो अगर आपको कानून पता है और आप उस कानून को डट कर कहें कि नहीं ये कानून है, तो फिर उससे कुछ ना कुछ फर्क बहुत पड़ता है। लोग डरते हैं, हम पुलिस को भी वो मान जाते हैं, फिर हम उसको परस्यू नहीं करते हैं, परसिस्टेंटली नहीं करते हैं। हम कहते हैं जब हमने अपना वो कर दिया, पुलिस से कहा, उसने मना कर दिया, हम घर आ गए। अरे क्यों घर क्यों आए, खड़े रहो वहां पर, उनसे कहो नहीं FIR दर्ज कीजिए।
यहाँ पे प्रेशर ग्रुप्स के साथ साथ मीडिया का भी रोल बहुत ही जरूरी है।
Like the Ashiana rape case, the judiciary and the police, they take a very long time to get a final decision of the case, and that like the Ashiana rape case, he's convicted now.
Really, I think I will repeat what Amrita said, that you do need, the media should not give up also. The media, what it does is it moves on to the next issue where the papers will sell, right? So, no, I'm sorry.
No, I object. It's not because the paper sells, because there are thousands of issues happening. Now you tell me, what is the society doing? If I raise the same question, we had child marriages, abolition of child marriages act law decades back. There's no reason why should we have child marriages today. But you go to Rajasthan, you go to some parts of UP, there is a season when you can see small children being carried out, mass marriages of. So somewhere it's society and the media. Because there's so many issues happening. If we had Guru yesterday, then we had Kumbh, then we had, every issue becomes very important. And I need to reply, I've been waiting and waiting, need to reply why Delhi got so much of attention. One, it is country's capital. Second, whatever happens, it became a symbol of brutality on a woman. Third, the society, their sensitivities were definitely awakened, because girls as such have been feeling very, very insecure. She mentioned about Chhattisgarh. Perhaps the newspapers there must have carried out as a movement, but maybe this part of India it was not. So it's not that the media, we highlight the issues. Issues become more important than cases, and certain cases become so important that it forces the judiciary to have a look, the government to set up a fast track court, and to set up a Justice Verma committee. So I think issues should be more important than particular.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, but what I meant was that persistence is the answer. That when something like this happens, then you need persistence from all quarters. That it might not take front page news, but because people are afraid of the media. The media has great power. So when that happens, and I'm telling you, if the media had not played up this whole issue, not a lot would have happened. It has got so much power, but unfortunately there aren't so many socially committed media people. I'm sorry to say that. And so it's everywhere. So you're one, we're very lucky. But there are many who aren't. But the point is that there needs persistence, and actually, okay, I would also say the same thing, that why did the women's groups, why did the committed groups let the case die down? Why didn't they stand there and protest? And that is the case with India. We chalta hai. Very soon we accept too much, we are too tolerant, we should be fighting more. And more withdrawal is needed, sir. Achha, 1 minute, I think let's move it to the audience now and ask if they have any questions.
In that vein, Urvashi, I'd like to add that we launched a new weekly called the Lucknow Tribune, and we are carrying a 1090 scorecard. How many cases are reported to the Women Helpline and how many are addressed every week. So it's a part of the newspaper, front page. So it's a scorecard of 1090 helpline. That how many cases are reported, how many are addressed. So
Ashiana. Now, if you remember, nobody was talking about Ashiana after this. It is the media which kept it alive, and you have to credit media for that. So I personally feel media is playing its role. Recently, a minister made a comment on DM's beauty. He said she has a very good figure. We carried it for 3 days. There was not even a single reaction. For us to, we basically, a newspaper is a different thing altogether, but we have become activists nowadays.
Very good.
So,
and we would comment and
Rishi, I just want to add one quick sentence. I think the best combination is the strength of the survivor. When life doesn't end with something like this, activists to support the survivor, because there's a lot of things you've got to deal with, and the role of the media. And I think then when justice is got, it stands as a great example for everybody around. Yes. So I think, the few cases that have happened, justice has been got. I think everyone goes home feeling that this is really what India should be about in this democracy.
बच्चे और बच्चे मुझसे हंसते, ये चीज आना कि एक लड़की ने स्लैप किया तो लड़के के लिए एक उसकी बात है, शर्म की बात है, ये जब तक नहीं आएगा कि समानता का एक एजुकेशन में नहीं आएगा कि ये हमारे फ्रेंड्स हैं, और इसमें जेंडर इशू इस बात का नहीं है कि लड़का अगर मारता है तो वो इतना शर्मनाक नहीं है, लड़की मारती तो शर्मनाक है। ये जहां तक बहुत सारे जो हिंसक घटनाएं इनमें ये भी होता है कि सबक सिखाने का मतलब, यानी औरत को अगर वो ऊपर यानी उसके बराबर आ रही है तो उसको दबा के सबक सिखाने का, चाहे वो रेप केसेस हो चाहे एसिड थ्रोइंग जैसी चीजें, तो ये अगर बच्चों में इस बात की बात एजुकेशन में नहीं आता है कि इतने बराबर है कि अगर वो हमको मार भी रहे तो ऐसे जैसे एक लड़का हमको ट्रीट करता है वैसे ही लड़की ट्रीट करती है, जब तक ये नहीं आएगा तब तक शायद मेरे ख्याल में ये चीजें हम उसकी तह तक नहीं जा पाएंगे। बहुत सारी बातें सही है लेकिन एक ये भी इम्पोर्टेंट रोल लगता है।
राजेंद्र के पास कुछ कहने को है तो उनकी विचार सुनते हैं। सर, आप एक योगा टीचर हैं स्कूल के, तो योगा का पूरा काम है सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन, तो आपको क्या लगता है कि ऐसी चीजें क्या हमें इस इश्यू पर मदद कर पाएंगी कभी?
हेलो, इस विषय में हमेशा मैंने अपने क्लास में बातें करी हैं बच्चों से, और योग सबसे पहला चीज है डिसिप्लिन। फर्स्ट, यम और नियम इज अ ट्रू पार्ट, इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट, डिसिप्लिन पार्ट। इट मीन्स good human being, how to make a good human being quality and how to develop it, that is very important। तो फिटनेस 3 लेवल पे वर्क करता है, फिजिकली, मेंटली और स्पिरिचुअली। जब तीनों फिटनेस साथ मिलते हैं तो वो एक सही मायने में फिटनेस है, और योग पूरी तरीके से हेल्प करता है मिडल। क्योंकि अभी जितनी सारी बातें मुझे सुन के बड़ा मजा आ रहा था बहुत सारे डिस्कशंस में, तो मुझे कहीं ना कहीं लगता है कि पुरुषों का नजरिया हमेशा से बहुत ही महिलाओं के प्रति बहुत पुराना रहा है। उनका दृष्टिकोण हमेशा से महिलाओं को के काम को महत्वहीन समझना और अपने काम को महत्वपूर्ण समझना। इसका परिणाम ये हुआ कि आज इस डिस्कशन की जरूरत पड़ी और इस चीज को सबके सामने रखने की जरूरत पड़ी। जरूरत ये पढ़नी ही नहीं चाहिए थी बहुत पहले, क्योंकि योग हमें सबसे पहले एक इंसान बनना सिखाता है। ये मेल और फीमेल सेकेंड स्टेज पे हैं। तो सबसे पहले तो एक गुड ह्यूमन बीइंग क्वालिटी का डेवलप होना। दूसरी चीज मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि एक शेर मुझे इस समय याद आ रहा है कि सिर्फ हंगामा खड़ा करना ही मेरा मकसद नहीं, सिर्फ हंगामा खड़ा करना ही मेरा मकसद नहीं, मेरी कोशिश है कि ये सूरत बदलनी चाहिए। मेरे सीने में न सही तेरे सीने में ही सही, हो कहीं भी आग, ये आग हमेशा जलनी चाहिए। इसको रुकने ना दें और हमेशा इसको कंटिन्यू करें। थैंक यू।
बात जब आग की आई है तो मैं यहाँ पे उपस्थित सभी पेरेंट्स से और यहाँ के भी पेरेंट्स से, हाँ,
I just wanted to say something after hearing what has been said here. I'm wearing this uniform and I'm still one of the 1% people who was in the Indian Army today. But I just have to say that a lot of women have to get over thinking of themselves as women. A lot of women have to say that so what if it's 99% men, I can do it as well. And if you have the mindset, you find after a while those 99% men also do not consider you a woman every time you start working. So it's very important that whenever you put your foot forward, it's not because you're a man or a woman, it's because you're doing something that you want to do. And the second thing that I want to say is, there was a question here as to why things die down. It is because we as a people let them die down. You know, we put the responsibility on the media, on the police, on the administration. Why not on ourselves? I have also part of the same society. The day I stand up and say, I won't stand up for this, the day my children stand up and say, the day I convince my mother-in-law, my father, my father-in-law, everybody to stand up and say, I think I've done my bit. And not only have I done my bit, when it emerges in society, I stand up every time and support it and not forget it. Because I'm also the mother of a daughter. It could happen with my daughter. So I think we put too much of pressure on people around us. I think we should put some of it on ourselves. Yes. We are equally responsible for that.
I think she raised a very important point. When women come out to work, they want to seek all concessions as a woman. So if you are out in the field, you're working, she's in the army, I'm in the media, let's behave like professionals and not women. Then only you command respect, otherwise you can't.
Adding to everybody's point made here,
I think there's a parent.
Okay.
Madam, personally as a parent, I feel that we should instill good moral values in our children right from the very beginning, especially sons, who have to be taught to respect women right from the very beginning. And if we do this, I feel that the world will become very safe for women in general.
But I to add to that it's not only the responsibility of the parents, it's the responsibility of the school also. Earlier, it's on. Earlier, when we were young, there were many textbooks on the history of India where there were personalities, great personalities like Ram Mohan Roy ji and Rani Lakshmi Bai. This all is missing in the textbook right now. Our children are reading about French Revolution and Industrial Revolution. But what about the history that motivates them, that there have been people like this in our society who brought changes? And we can be one of them. Our name will also be included in these people. This is one person, this is individual level, school level. Another thing is religion. I think religion makes everyone unite, and these days I observe that children are shy to go to their religious places. Why? They should be glad, they should be proud to be associated with religion, because religion teaches them tolerance, religion teaches them respect. So every student should be taught to respect their religion and be proud of it. Children should not be shy to go to their temples or masjids, or that is what the culture of new generation is coming up. And third thing, I would like that women and children, especially girls, will feel more safe when they physically feel they are stronger. And for that, school can include in the curriculum activities like karate, judo, to make them more physically confident that they can pick up any kind of molestation that is there from the male gender. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a moment. First of all, I would like to thank the study hall people that they have come up with this issue, because I feel, I am a psychologist working in the counseling field, I feel that most of the issues which have been happening, it is happening in the middle class homes. But the thing is that we are not coming up and speaking. Most women, we hide issues. We feel that it becomes a prestige issue for most of us. So I feel that as a woman, first of all, we all need to respect our own self. If you respect yourself as a man or as a woman, then we'll be able to teach our children that you, whether you are a male or a female, if you respect you as a self, 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 and I'm sure our society will definitely turn into something that we are all looking forward to, and we are actually in the awakening mode, and we are going towards a good future. Thank you very much.
I just want to add something here.
Ma'am, I think I'd like to differ. I think religion being taught is something that unites on a small scale, and whatever unites on a small scale divides on a larger scale. So I think morals can be followed as morals, not because it's a religious path, but because you're a human, you respect the rights of another human.
I think the framework of human rights versus, I think religion also had taught us a lot of gender bias. So I mean, if we can turn around and see how many people are wearing sindhoor today, or how many people have to wear a ghungat or a niqab, I think I mean, these are just very simple symbols of religion. Also, आपने कहा कि models in history. It's interesting again, you know, Rani Lakshmibai because Mardani, I mean, ऐसी है Mardani. So I think that who were the people? I mean, Florence Nightingale, wonderful person, but again the caring part. I mean, looking after people. So I think that the models in earlier on curriculum were not necessarily of empowered women. So I think we need to look at that also.
Which is why I just want to add to what everybody is saying. One, I agree with her and with Madhvi that a lot of our religions have been the perpetrators of gender bias, actually. And in fact, तुम बराबरी करती हो, and तुम्हारे संस्कार कहाँ है? All this idea of honor is tied to women's. Just one moment, ma'am. It has come. A lot of it has religious sanction, which is a problem. That is one. Secondly, I think that even morals I don't want to talk about. More importantly, our children need to get a social, political understanding in an intellectual sense of human rights, of democracy, what it means, not just to mouth it, of politics and what it means, of power and how it's divided and distributed. And that should be part of the curriculum, just like math, science, history. In fact, that is what we are propagating very hard. We are advocating. I met with the minister in Delhi. I met with some senior official. I said, let's make, to begin with, gender studies as part of the post-primary curriculum across the board, just like Hindi, maths, English, history, gender studies. In Prerna, we do it all the way from class 6. It is part of the curriculum. There is no choice in the matter. And I think it is important for our children to have an intellectual understanding of what is happening around you. How is power divided? Why is it divided? A history of patriarchy. How was it created? How do you change it? Only then education will become an instrument of social change.
Actually, we're making an effort today to sit down here and discuss a topic which everybody sits at home and discusses. Everybody knows. But the point is here that we have to make efforts to have these kind of gatherings and discuss things because certain things are taboos at home. We do not discuss what has happened. For example, in this case recently, when the news channels were covering all this, we had friends over and they sent the kids inside and changed the channels. So my son asked, what is rape? I took the effort to explain him. I do not need to explain him physically what happens or mentally what happens. But I just need to tell him that the audacity of a woman is outraged by some. So the point is that taboos should be removed. People should know, the kids should know what has to be talked about, what has not to be talked about, and everything has to be talked about in front of the kids, but the levels of the discussion or the descriptions have to be moderated according to their age. So in case we are talking frankly with the children right from the early age, with boys or girls, we will not need an effort to sit together. Women's rights groups will not have to come together and have forums or discussions and all. It will be a day-to-day topic and these things will never happen.
Since more of a
awakening has been done right now. Ma'am, I have a question to media that commodity as women as a commodity. How media is going to tackle the issue of commodity, women as a commodity, because it all boils down to that. So I would like to have your views upon that.
Thing I said about that women, if she's willing to be seen as a commodity, and I mentioned about a minister who had made such a lousy statement against the district magistrate at a public function. You know, there she was not sitting as a woman, she was the collector of the area, and now the people would look at her figure and not at whatever work she wants to do or she, but nobody, we carried it, we invited people, but nobody talked about it.
Ma'am, then she's an educated woman. Why are we sorry for her?
Well, she maybe because she's an IAS officer, maybe she has written to the government and she has not come to the press because as per their rule, they are not supposed to talk to the press directly. So there may be she has done it, but point is why women have not reacted to it. Why women have not reacted to it. And if you are referring to the portrayal of women in films, then also I think there is a time for the society to look at it, because we allow women on hoardings. There may not be anything in the picture, but we allow. So it is for us to decide whether we want to continue, and why we do see serials in which all the detective women are always conspiring. I don't think so. A woman is always conspiring. She's doing much more than that. So why are we watching them? So I think this is something which media can do, but economics are very important.
But
when
also
it comes to
protesting against products which accentuate, like Axe Effect, for example. I think it is downright degrading ad for women. I mean, all a woman needs in a man is a bike, dandruff-free hair, fresh breath, and now fair complexion. I mean, I think these stereotypes need to be challenged. I think women groups should challenge, because this is constantly sending these messages into our drawing rooms, into our families, into our children, moment to moment, that this is how, things are. The movies where an ordinary person, he stalks a girl, and eventually the girl falls in love with him. I mean, so stalking is considered to be, acceptable, because this is the best way the girl will eventually fall in love, because she gets tired of warding you off. So I think these things, filmmakers, it's not just the print media, or it's not just the television media. I think what you're talking about, commercialization of women, and women themselves. I think the group of girls who are sitting here, they're about 2%, not even .some% of girls who are awakening to their mission and their causes. I think for them to be responsible, for them to treat themselves as pioneers, treat themselves as crusaders for this cause.
I would like to say that when media had raised a point about the IAS officer's figure getting commented, the thing is that in Nirbhaya's case, she made a comment. Being a girl of such a young age, she commented. But why didn't an IAS officer make one comment? Even though she's an IAS officer, it was a matter of womanhood. Why didn't she comment? And I think she didn't take the stand, and she didn't get any support from any angle, because she is an IAS officer. She should have been taking the lead in reacting. But she stopped herself. Is it her education, or is it her post which stopped herself from giving a comment to press? What kind of leadership is she showing?
Most of the IAS officers, we request them to write for us, and we give them a pen name. Their service rules don't allow them to speak to the press. This is what it is, and it's a hard reality and a bad reality. I don't think so it's the right thing. One thing I would like to say, when this gang rape happened, people spoke about item numbers. There was a lot of debate on item numbers. But when the people are going and watching films, the actresses are also doing it. So vulgarity in films is a very, very separate subject which we can discuss for days.
I want to just add over here, I think the issue is deeper than that. It's not just in the movies or on hoardings or in media. The question is, and I think some people touched upon it, the lady from the army, that it's a question of how do we perceive ourselves as women? How do we define femininity and masculinity? And how do men perceive us? So it is a very deep-rooted question of how are women portrayed, but first of all, how do we perceive ourselves, right? It's not just on media. What about girls generally, right? When you go to a party, men are dressed in suits. You often go to a party, women are dressed in backless blouses, right? Now, why is their idea of beauty a backless blouse and their idea of smartness a tie? So that is also part of the social way of perceiving yourselves. So I think it is important. Gender, we've been talking about gender roles all the time, roles and responsibilities, that's what we were talking. That is why the issue of gender, that you're born a boy or a girl is a matter of sex, your sex. That doesn't give you any power or dispower. But because society assigns certain roles, certain perceptions, certain responsibilities, certain rights, certain duties, that's how gender is constructed. So gender is actually a verb. It is done at home, it is done in society, it is done by media, it is done by films, it is done by everything. How do you undo it? Right. So that at various places, you undo it at home, parents must, first of all, with a lot of conversations, you undo it in school, and then it will lead to an undoing outside too. So importantly, you must look at yourself also, and that's why media studies. Talk to your children at home about how it is being perceived, how they're being portrayed. Let them critique it. Talk about it at home. These dialogues are really very important.
I think some parents have...
Yes.
Students from the audience also, please feel free to join.
Or teacher. I wanted to add one thing, that it's high time now we should talk about certain role models now. And I think the people sitting on the dais, they themselves are the role models. Like we have Madhvi ma'am. We talk about patriarchal society, and she has, I think, broken the norms. And she has a son, and she's taking care of the second leadership now, where she's working for people, and she has shown that we all have matter, and it starts with us. That is what I just wanted to say.
Thank you, but I think a point I'd like to take from that, I think it's very important that personal is political. This has been a slogan of the women's movement, that how you lead your life should be reflecting of all these norms. So we do talk about the institution of marriage, but yet we want our daughters to get married. We look at a single woman in a particular way, even if we say there's nothing wrong in being single. So I think the way each one of us leads our lives, and if we can talk about what's personal is political, then I think, like she said, a lot of women's lives will change. I mean, the person who was the army officer said that. Then I think if personal is political, if we can make that our slogan, there'll be a lot of change.
I think the question from the student should be the last one.
Auntie, I wanted to ask that you said that education plays a major role in reducing gender biases. So when most of the people of India are uneducated, how can you trust them? Most of the girls, they feel unsafe because people are uneducated. Yes, Auntie.
Correct. Okay, let me reframe my answer then. What I said was that a certain kind of education will change gender biases. Because if schools mirror gender norms, have the same thing happening, it's not going to change any gender bias. So that's why you should make it as part of your curriculum, make it as part of your agenda, your educational agenda to change gender norms. Secondly, of course, you must first of all have education in order to change the kind of education you get. But let me tell you, according to statistics, now these are government statistics, let's take them with a pinch of salt. But in terms of access to education, they are claiming that as many girls have access to education as boys. Okay, it's saying something like net enrollment is 87%, the gender ratio, right? But also the dropout rate is huge. So we need several stages of progress. You definitely need education to be reaching everyone, but I think while you're doing that, you can't wait. You can't say, okay, first let's reach literacy and numeracy to everyone, then we'll think about gender. No. You need to first redefine education, make it more real, grounded in realities, grounded in social and political realities, and then make sure that everyone has access to that. And beta, again, as many people have told you, I told you there were approximately 1 million female feticides. Do you think there are uneducated people doing that? They don't have access to ultrasound machines. They don't have the money. They just have their babies. They have 7 daughters so that they can have a son. They kill their daughters. But female feticide is done by educated people, middle class people, right? So that is why it is very important to look at the kind of education. What's the content of that education? How is it transacted? What is the norm, right? Okay. I think we need to wrap up. The sun is going to roast us. I just want to say one last thing, that a group of 40 women who started repairing hand pumps in Banda 20 years ago, completely illiterate, did also cause a revolution and a change in all stereotypes about women. While in America, in New York, in Delhi and Lucknow, you don't have a single woman mechanic who comes to repair your bijli or your plumbing or anything. So I mean, it also depends on how the main thing is to transform the stereotypes that exist. So education with or without, that can happen also.
थोड़ा सा मुझे मौका मिलेगा मैं जरा सा मुझे मौका दे दीजिए। ये जो बैनर लगा है इसमें अनवांटेड, अनइक्वल और अनसेफ, मैं डॉक्टर उर्वशी साहनी जी ने जहाँ पर बात छोड़ी थी, मैं बहुत देर से छटपटा रहा था कि मैं उनकी बात को थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ाऊं। डॉक्टर साहनी ने प्रश्न उठाया था कि आखिर क्यों नहीं बोल पाती घर की लड़की, क्यों नहीं विद्रोह कर पाती है। तो इसके लिए हम सबको एक चीज सोचनी पड़ेगी कि जो सोशल सिक्योरिटी सिस्टम है हमारा, सोशल सिक्योरिटी जो अमेरिका में है, जो ब्रिटेन में है, जो बहुत सारे डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में है, वहाँ पर क्या है कि सरकार की, स्टेट की जिम्मेदारी होती है कि अगर किसी को ज़रूरत है किसी किस्म की तो वो पूरी करता है। हमारे यहाँ थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम ये है कि अगर कोई मान लेते हैं लड़की विद्रोह करके खड़ी भी होती है परिवार में उस पिता के खिलाफ, तो उसको बाद में सपोर्ट कौन करने वाला है, उसकी फाइनेंशियल नीड्स को कौन पूरा करने वाला है, उसके सर्वाइवल को कौन देखने वाला है। मीडिया की डॉक्टर एरन भी हैं, मैं भी मीडिया से ही हूँ, डॉक्टर उर्वशी तो बहुत बड़ी सोशल वर्कर हैं। कुछ ऐसे प्रेशर तैयार किए जाएं जिससे सरकार वो सोशल सिक्योरिटी इंश्योर करे कि अगर किसी परिवार की कोई लड़की विद्रोह करती है अपने ऊपर हुए अपराध के खिलाफ तो उसकी व्यवस्थाएं सरकार उठाए। मुझे लगता है यहाँ पर अगर हम थोड़ा सा काम कर लेंगे तो हम अपनी बच्चियों को और ताकतवर बना सकते हैं, उनको पूरी तरह से स्वतंत्र रूप से एक अस्तित्व प्रदान कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि अभी तक वो अपने उसी पिता पर निर्भर है फाइनेंशियली, वो अपने भाई पर निर्भर है। जब तक ये कुछ चेंजेस नहीं आएंगे तब तक मेरे ख्याल से थोड़ा मुश्किल पड़ेगा।
आपकी बात सही थी सर कि सोशल सिक्योरिटी सरकार की तरफ से तो होनी चाहिए, पर मैं एक और बात फिर कहना चाहूँगी कि लड़कियां अपने बाप और पिता और भाई पर इसलिए निर्भर हैं, सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं कि उनके पास और कोई चारा नहीं है। आप अगर बहुत ही यहीं पर देखेंगे तो कई औरतें, कई ऐसे घर हैं जहाँ के पति कमाता तो है लेकिन दारू में उसे उड़ाता है। औरत ही काम कर कर, चाहे मेहरी का काम कर कर अपना पूरे घर को चलाती है, तो इसका मतलब आत्मनिर्भर वो है ही, लेकिन साइकोलॉजिकली वो आत्मनिर्भर नहीं है। तब भी वो उसी पति की मार खाती है रोज और ये डरती है कि बाहर जाके मेरे पर बलात्कार हो जाएगा। घर के बलात्कार, पति की बलात्कार रोज सहती है, लेकिन तब भी उसके मन में ये मानसिकता है कि बाहर मुझ पे अत्याचार हो जाएगा तो वो बहुत बुरा है, लेकिन घर का अत्याचार किसी तरह से वो मुझे सहना ही है क्योंकि वो तो हमारा सिस्टम है। तो इसका मतलब हमें आत्मनिर्भरता की जरूरत तो है, लेकिन बहुत जरूरी आत्मनिर्भरता, और ये बहुत से लोगों ने कहा, एक साइकोलॉजिकल और एक सेल्फ की जरूरत कि आई कैन बी इंडिपेंडेंट, आई कैन लिव एज एन इक्वल पर्सन, आई कैन सर्वाइव एज एन इक्वल पर्सन, एंड टू दैट द एविडेंस इज दैट मेनी वुमेन आर सर्वाइविंग एज इंडिपेंडेंट पीपल इन देयर ओन होम्स, दे आर सर्वाइविंग, लेकिन घर से बाहर निकलने में डरती हैं, बहुत ही बुरी बुरी शादियों को सहती हैं और बहुत सालों तक सहती हैं क्योंकि इनके मन में बिठाया गया है कि तुम्हारी अर्थी भी यहाँ से उठे और जाके वो सारी रिलीजियस नॉनसेंस कि इसमें कि ये सब तुम्हें करना है कि वो तो आपको सहना ही है किसी तरह, और बाहर डेंजर है, घर में डेंजर नहीं है। घर का डेंजर किसी तरह से वो तो फिर सिस्टम ही है और बाहर का डेंजर बहुत बुरा है। ये हमें बच्चियों को सिखाना है कि बेटा पहले अपने मन में एक आत्मनिर्भर बनो, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट साइकोलॉजिकली, फिर ये शक्ति होगी कि आप आगे भी कुछ कर सकते।
Short, okay. I'm quite relieved कि इन्होंने कहा personal is political. Otherwise, most of the discussions end with media bashing and government responsibility. As I said earlier, because there are a whole lot of people sitting here, please think about your vote. Take the responsibility. Elect the right government. You'll have the right system, and we are just a reflection of the society. You'll see everything good in the paper there.
As rightly said, generally it happens that we end up concluding with the blame game going on. But today, what we have finally seen is that ultimately everything ends up in bringing the change in ourselves. We need to change our own thinking process, and the change should come from inside. We all need to participate for it. As for the vote of thanks, I'm really honored to do that job. I would like to thank all the panelists present here for coming and giving their time. I would like to thank the audience to listen so patiently and participate so actively. I would like to thank my teachers also who had helped us with the whole discussion. Thank you.
At the end, I would like to say something. I think we should teach our children, think once before. Think once before you misbehave with someone. Maybe for you it's fun, but you are giving a lesson to your young ones. Come on, you can also enjoy with someone. But you know that someone can be your loved ones also. So never ever try to have such fun.
Thank you. I just discussions and have more like these. And just before parting, can I say this, that I think our principal mentioned it to you, that we have been running a campaign on our website, studyhallfoundation.org. And we have wide participation from our student community, from Prerna, Vidyasthali and Study Hall, from students from the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas in Jaunpur, Mirzapur and Sonbhadra, from the teacher training community, from University of Maryland, University of Toronto, and from past community members. I request you all to please just click on our website, send us a short blog, we will post it on our website and enter the dialogue. As a follow-up to that, we have several offline activities. This is one of those. And tomorrow, if you know that there is a campaign called 1 Billion Rising. I don't know how many of you got an opportunity to watch Vagina Monologues by Eve Ensler. She has called for this campaign called 1 Billion Rising of Women Against Gender-Based Violence and for Women's Equality. And this is 1 Billion Rising all over the world. And they have called 14th of February, which you all know is Valentine's Day, as V-Day, pun intended. And everywhere, many people are getting together to have an event to show their solidarity. Many organizations here, Study Hall Foundation being one of them, Sanat Kada, and Sahyog and others, are leading a rally, a mass rally, which is on at 1 o'clock. You're supposed to bring one Odni with you, and our schools are participating, our teachers are participating. We will all be starting at, where are we joining? We're going to do 2 hours of it. It carries on all the way from the Begum Hazrat Mahal Park to the GPO, right? It was there in the newspapers today too. So we invite you all to our website to join our campaign. We invite you all to the rally tomorrow, and again show your solidarity, and let us hope that the dialogue does not cease, that it is important to be, that is what an active democracy is. It is filled with vibrant, relevant, social, political and critical dialogues. Thank you very much once again. Thank you all for our students. As you can see, they have started. And thank you all for joining us. Thanks very much.